Panel. KFI radio host John Kobylt of John and Ken fame, television journalist Giselle Fernandez, KABC Radio's John Phillips, all veteran broadcasters. Great to have all of you here. Our big first issue, the issue of the week, is the Supreme Court. Anthony Kennedy deciding to retire. CNN's Jeff Toobin talked about it this way.
You are going to see 20 states pass laws banning abortion outright, just banning abortion, and because they know that there are now going to be 5 votes on the Supreme Court to overturn Roe v. Wade. And abortion will be illegal in a significant part of the United States in 18 months.
Is Roe v. Wade potentially going down? John Phillips.
Well, anything is possible. It's all about the votes, though, when it comes down to whether or not the guy who's going to replace Anthony Kennedy actually gets in. And Democrats are putting huge amounts of pressure on their incumbent senators to vote against them. The people that this puts on the hot seat, the people that this makes life very difficult for, are red state Democrats who are running for re-election. What does Joe Manchin do? What does Heidi Heitkamp do? What does Donnelly from Indiana do when they're forced to vote against this nominee who their constituents want, or vote for him and upset the resistance?
Giselle, what do you think? Are you afraid right now? A lot of people on the Democratic side are really scared.
We should be scared. This is a huge, titanic blow to everything we fought for, especially right now during the Me Too women's rights era. We have immigrant rights that are under attack. We have anything that's diverse. Our unions were just attacked this past week. There's so many jolts to the Democratic Party, and this is a titanic one. And what can we do about it? We have to put pressure on our senators, regardless whether in red states or not, and we have to vote. There's no apathy right now that is even remotely acceptable. The real threat is much larger, which is this totalitarian, autocratic, remaking of our entire democracy. And this is just one more evolutionary big step toward a fascist regime.
Do you agree?
No. I don't think it's totalitarian when you have a Democratic election. Trump won. You have majorities of Republicans in Senate and the House. They won legitimately. Everybody won fair and square. I mean, probably half the country hates abortion. They didn't even want to hear it discussed. The whole idea of it makes them, upset.
That is not true. This is a huge pillar of the Democratic movement, as you know. And
the Democratic movement, but there's a lot of people who aren't Democrats in this country.
Well, there are a lot of Republicans also who are in favor of pro-choice because they don't want the government deciding for us what we should do with our bodies. And there's a huge surge of women's power now that will not want this to happen. Yes, I agree with you.
If that's important enough, they would vote. And then things would change. You would get different Supreme Court justices. You would get different laws. That Roe v. Wade was always in a gray area. There's obviously nothing in the Constitution specifically about abortion. Mm-hmm. What they did is they attached it to this right of privacy. So everybody knows it was kind of a wobbler in terms of its legality constitutionally.
But it was only a matter for all these years.
It survived, yeah, and partly, that's why I don't agree with what Jeffrey Toobin says, that it's guaranteed in 18 months it's going to go down. Because look how many Republican presidents and Supreme Court nominees we had that they thought were so conservative, and those nominees always seem to betray the president on that issue.
This is a very different time. Right now, it used to be that we had 3 very distinct branches of government. Right now, the judiciary is supposed to be an independent branch from any politicization. And right now, it's becoming extremely partisan, which is very, very dangerous. And I disagree with you wholeheartedly. There are Republicans and there are Democrats and independents who desperately want and care that Roe versus Wade is kept in place.
But on both sides.
And John,
judges don't always vote with the person who nominated them. I mean, look at Neil Gorsuch. Neil Gorsuch has left the reservation on any number of subjects. Look at Justice Roberts, who voted to save Obamacare. Just because he was nominated by a Republican doesn't necessarily mean that vote is not locked down.
All right, we're going to have to leave it there. We'll be back with more in our panel right after this. Welcome back. Back with our panel, KFI's John Kobylt, journalist Giselle Fernandez, KABC Radio's John Phillips. Another big issue, the issue of immigration, which could end up at the Supreme Court as well. We see these family separations happening. The president put an executive order out there saying we don't want family separation anymore, but there hasn't been specifics about how to actually do that. We still see a lot of families separated. I know, Giselle, this is an incredibly important issue for you.
This is a total demonization of the immigrant in this country, and it's a travesty, and it's a crisis in morality for this nation. And we've demonized mothers and children who come here. Why do they come here? It's not immigrants. They're refugees. They're fleeing Honduras, Guatemala, El Salvador. Why? Because of our involvement in the 80s, and they have gangs that were built here in Los Angeles and returned there, and these people are fleeing for their lives. As a mother, and I am a mother of a Guatemalan child I adopted from there, this is a country in absolute civil war and has been, and they have the worst murder rates in all of the world. They have a constitutional right to present themselves legally as they do and apply for asylum. It's guaranteed by our decree and our Constitution. This is his core issue. As you said earlier, immigration, demonize the immigrant, the foreigner, because it rallies up his racist white base.
I didn't say that.
You didn't say that,
No.
but I did. I'm happy to do so.
Well, that you said. How many do we let in? We've got to agree on a number here.
I'd love to have that discussion as opposed to making all these mothers and children in cages seem like criminals.
Well, we've got too many coming in too fast at once.
Why?
There's no practical way to handle this. And by the way, I disagree on the asylum. Thomas Homan, who's the acting director of ICE, says 80% of these asylum cases turn out to be frivolous. They're not really asylum stories. There are some asylum stories that you can attach to and make a very emotional case for.
I think we have to be very careful.
A lot of the asylum stories are
I'm
nonsense.
sorry, you have to be very careful when you start spouting facts. As we've learned, there's so much fake news and a manipulation and mythology of these statistics. The bottom line is thousands of these people come. A very small percentage are criminals or come to do any harm to this country.
It's not our responsibility
It
to take care of.
certainly is our responsibility.
No, it's not
we are
mine.
the greatest nation in the world, and we can
shouldn't
have
be
more
that
compassion.
Great. No,
We're not that great
I'm not
right now.
interested in being that great. I don't want to take on the world's problems. They need to fix that in their
We help cause those
country.
problems by absolutely messing with their elections and their countries, and we are
American-
paying
the
the
American
price for it
people
now.
Let's get John
Our
in there.
A
government
lot
did
of
under
this
Reagan.
is driven by partisanship and Trump derangement syndrome, because if you're a country, you have immigration laws, you have to enforce them. President Obama enforced them. President Obama, among other things, he paid off the Mexicans to do a lot of our dirty work. The Border Patrol in Mexico was militarized under the Obama administration because he thought that was a more prudent use of our resources. These facilities that we're seeing on TV didn't just pop up in the Trump administration. They were built and they pre-existed Donald Trump's election to the presidency. And suddenly, just now, everyone has a problem with what President Trump is doing, and they're saying he's motivated by racism.
Was there not a
because he's
change on the
created
policy? The policy
Yes.
itself, the policy
Yes.
of family separation, is different
He's
under the
exactly
Trump
What are you
administration.
going to do? If you got a
Systemized it.
family
But
coming
will you
in,
not acknowledge that the policy of family separation is different?
People were arrested under President Obama as felons. If they came a second time illegally, they were arrested with misdemeanors. They were put in these facilities. Sometimes they were jailed together. Sometimes they were jailed apart. There's nothing that's going on right now outside of zero tolerance
That's true.
that didn't exist before.
It's true, and President Obama, who was criticized for being the deporter in chief, and these separations, and by the way, gone long on before Obama. They've gone on since the days of slavery. We took children away from their parents.
Wait, hold on. Any
But
president has to enforce the border. Can we agree on that?
He has to enforce the border, but
there's billions of people that want to come here.
We have let people come here for guest worker programs when it has benefited our businesses, and then we demonize them when we need to kick them out.
To the family separation thing. Family comes over the border. The U.S. government has conflicting choices because of the way the law is. Either you arrest the parents, and then you can only keep the kids for 20 days, or you separate the two. Now,
You don't separate families
well,
ever.
but you can't hold the kids for more than 20 days. So what do?
You know,
you have to rewrite the law.
I'd rather have bipartisan, real coming together to discuss exactly
There's
that.
no such thing.
How we create a reformed immigration and refugee policy that actually takes these situations into account. We got a lot of smart people in this country. We're a compassionate nation.
We have a lot of idiot politicians.
We have a lot of
That's what we have.
I think we can agree.
Smart people don't run for office.
We
We can agree on both of
discussing-
those things. Okay, well, it's been kind of a tense show so far, so let's have a little bit of fun. Coming up next, the big question of the week, is LeBron James about to be a Laker? Is he going to be saying, I love LA? We know he's already moving here. The answer to that when we come back. The proposals have already begun. You see it right there. That was tweeted out by ESPN today. Question is, who is going to win LeBron's heart? Will it be the Lakers? He's now officially a free agent. He's not going to be on The Bachelor next year, by the way. He's happily married. So to our panel, the big question, will LeBron James be a Laker this time next week? John.
If he's got a house in Brentwood, I've heard multiple times that he's looking at schools for his kids, local schools. So that's what you follow. So I say yes.
I say absolutely, and there's one huge reason why, and that is Magic Johnson. They're good friends, and he promised to transform the team, and what better way to do it?
Yeah.
If a player is past his prime and comes to Los Angeles to play, wouldn't he be playing for the Clippers?
He's not past his prime. He's
still
arguably the best player in the world. He would do so much to unify Los Angeles, bring so much economy, and he brings so much spirit, and he transcends basketball.
God, it brought you two together. So that's something. Let's end there.
We're going to be going to a Laker game.
Let's also end with
year.
this. We want to play some music for you, and it is all about this. You hear that? It's Light Us Up, because the man who lights us up every week is Dave Shirley, our lighting director. We've always thought he's the best in the business. We're not the only ones. He won the Emmy this week for outstanding lighting. Congrats to Dave. We're proud to call you a teammate. Thanks for making us look so good every week. And thanks to the entire crew behind the scenes. We're the best people. That's all for this week. Thanks so much for watching The Issue Is. Have a great one. There's some good lighting.